3, 2. Good evening and welcome. Thank you to our in-person and online communities and to our stakeholders for joining us this evening. And a special thank you to Pastor Lucius Denard and his First Lady, Minister Denard, and the Dede Memorial Baptist Church for hosting us tonight as we kick off our board meeting tour. It is my pleasure to call the Twiggs County Board of Education meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, May 11th, 2021, and the time is 6:06 p.m. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Amen. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, Tuesday, May 11th, 2021.
I move that motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, May 11, 2021, regular board meeting, regular session.
The motion has been properly made by Ms. Teresa Blackshear. May I have a second?
Second.
The motion has been properly seconded by Ms. King. Is there any discussion? Are there any concerns concerning our agenda for tonight's meeting? If there should be none, are you ready for the question? Again, this motion is to approve our agenda for tonight's meeting, May 11th, 2021. All right, no discussion. All in favor, I know you by saying yes or raising your right hand. Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Approval of minutes. These are our minutes from our April 27th, 2021 BOE work session. Board members, if you have a quick moment just to scan back over, I know that we've done our homework and reviewed them. All right, board members.
Brother Chair.
Proceed.
I would like to make a motion to accept the work session board meeting dated April the 27th.
Motion has been properly made by Ms. King. May I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been properly seconded by Ms. Blackshear. Is there any discussion? This motion is to approve our April 27th BOE work session. If there is no discussion at this time, I ask all in favor, I know you by saying yes or raising your right hand. Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. At this time, we will have the ethics statement by Ms. Teresa Blackshear.
Thank you. In accordance with regulations set forth by the Georgia Ethics Commission, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflict of interest or interest of such conflict. Does any board member have any non-conflict of interest? or appearing on our proposed agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Chair, we will proceed with our agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. At this time, I am thoroughly pleased to allow board members to have comments tonight. So we will, it is no other way, no better way than to start with this district, District 3. Ms. Rhonda King, District 3.
Good afternoon, everyone. I personally would like to thank everyone here tonight for coming out to the D.D. Memorial Baptist Church for our board meeting and to participate with Dr. Bullard in our meet and listen conversation we had an hour ago. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. King. Ms. Blackshear.
Thank you. I would like to piggyback off Ms. King. We are so delighted to have you all a part of our board meeting tonight. It does take a village, and as our one team, one goal, we focus on that, and that is you are part of our team. So thank you for being a part of our team.
Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. Mr. Rouse, do we have any comments?
Yes, I'd just like to say that glad to see everyone out tonight. I think this is a great event. Get around in the community. A lot of people don't have a chance to get to the board office, and we got a new superintendent, and I think everyone needs to get to meet him, and he needs to get to know you, because these are all the kids that we're here to raise and to give a good education. As Sister Blackshear said, one team, one goal, and that includes all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rouse. I would just like to commend our community for coming out, for those who live in this district and for those who do not live in this district. But it's a little easier to kind of get off work and come to your district for a meeting. So Dr. Bullard, I think you may be on to something, as it doesn't state anywhere in our policies that we cannot have board meeting off of the premises of our education system. However, our education system is district-wide, because we know, I think I'll get some amens on this, that charity begins at home and spreads abroad. So tonight I am pleased and excited that we brought this amazing idea, Dr. Bullard, that you brought it to life, and I want us to see it through, as it was amazing recommendation to the board, and I'm glad that we all bought in and we're all here, and we are ready to do the work that our community and our school district needs under the great leadership of the next man who will speak. Superintendent's comments, Dr. Mac Bullard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Vice Chair, board members, again, I want to thank Pastor Denard, First Lady Denard, the congregation of D.D. Memorial Baptist Church, the entire District 3 community for welcoming us today. As I said earlier, that I did pray and hope that the community would join us, and by evidence of you being here tonight, the prayers were answered, and that you engaged, you gave input into the listening session, the town hall meeting, and we were able to gain knowledge and insight on how we can continue to improve in our school district, and I want to say thank you. I do have some great announcements that I want to make on tonight. As your superintendent, great things keep happening in Twiggs County Public Schools, and last week was no exception. We spent the week rewarding our teachers who were identified as survivors during Teacher Appreciation Week, and we actually gave the board members one of the backpacks that we gave to our teachers. Now, the backpacks for the teachers was full of goodies. Now, yours may not be full of goodies. Oh, upside down. But you at least have one of the gifts that they received. Our teachers survived the pandemic last year and kept our kids educating, so we wanted to celebrate them being survivors. On Thursday of last week, the day of our sweepstakes during Teacher Appreciation Week, we won the prize of having our own kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Jennifer Smith, could you stand, Ms. Smith, named as a finalist for the Georgia Teacher of the Year. Ms. Smith, come on up front. We're going to dote on you a little bit. We are honored to share that moment with her colleagues, come on up, her family, and even her students. We were all together and we cheered her success. We ended the day Thursday with an exquisite superintendent's honor graduates reception, and our scholars were graceful, elegant, and worthy of an evening that celebrated not just their success, but their character and their discipline. We have another prize we want to give to you. Will your mom come on up? I just want to say, the state of Georgia has 189 school districts. And there were only 10 finalists out of the entire state who were named as finalists for the Georgia Teacher of the Year. And we have one of our very own, Ms. Jennifer Smith, from Jeffersonville Elementary. For you, I know that we're going to get you ready to compete because we're going to win. All right. Mr. Bass is keeping me in check. And then on Saturday, the region found out that Mr. Tremendous Sanders is truly a tremendous athlete and young man. Come on up. Mr. Sanders competed Mr. Sanders competed at the regional track and field qualifiers in Commerce, Georgia, and he came home a winner. Yes. He is now on his way to the state championships, and we couldn't be more proud to have this young man represent us at the state. And we are confident that he will be the next state champion in Twiggs County Public Schools. Come on up, Mama. Who you want to come up? Grandmama. Come on, all right, Grandma. Let me tell you what this young man did. This young man was the regional champion in the 200-meter dash. This young man was the runner-up for the 100-meter dash. He was the runner-up for the regional 110 hurdles. And now he's qualified for state finals and going to the state championship. We're very proud of you. Congratulations, son. We're proud of you. You make us proud. And last but not least, the Starbase came to JES this week. This week, we're honored to have Starbase Robbins land at Jeffersonville Elementary School. Our fifth grade scholars are soaring and exploring through hands-on STEM projects. And for those who don't know what STEM is, that's science, technology, engineering, and math. Projects all week sponsored by the Robbins Air Force Base. The Starbase program fosters critical thinking skills, collaboration, and teamwork through hands-on minds on experiential learning opportunities. The data shows that students who attend Starbase academies increase their knowledge and skills in STEM and improve their attitudes about and their confidence in STEM. And we want to celebrate Principal Ms. Reese Jenkins for celebrating Starbase at JES. Thank you for bringing that for our students. Mr. Chair, that concludes the superintendent comments.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard, for your comments and for your celebrations. May we give all of our amazing scholars and all of our amazing educators a round of applause for the job they do in our district. Listen, I say this often everywhere I go, and I think everyone knows everywhere I go, I wear a t-shirt. I tell it that I am from Tweaks County. But one thing that I am proud of, I am proud to know that in this season and for the last couple of years, we have employed some amazing district administrators and some amazing educators, and our scholars are being prepared to compete globally daily. So I am just excited that Tremendous took the courage to do what he did, and it takes a lot of confidence to be an athlete, but to be a scholar and an athlete, it's just double blessings. So we thank you, Tremendous, and we thank you, parents. Thank you, Ms. Roger. Thank you, Mama. Thank you for all that you do. So now if you hear out in the street something different, you tell them to see me. All right. At this time, Dr. Bullard, if it pleases you and the board, we will proceed to our business agenda.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. At this time, we'll entertain business agenda item A. The tentative budget information item will be presented by Mr. James Austin, our CFO.
Good evening,
Good
Board
evening.
Chair, Vice Chair, Board members, Superintendent Dr. Bullard, and constituents. I would be remiss if I didn't say that the atmosphere in this place was beautiful tonight.
Amen.
And I would definitely be remiss, especially coming from a household of ministers, deacons, pastors, and a lot of people that serve in the church and the usher board especially, if I didn't give reverence to my Most High, my Savior, and also to the leadership of this church, and thank you for that. I got to go home and eat Sunday dinner. I don't want to hear that when I go home. So I'm going to be in order. Now that that's out the way, let's talk about the business that we have at hand with our tentative budget. The tentative budget was set based upon the budget calendar. Every year, we design with in mind how to educate our scholars and provide the best educational opportunities. And at this particular point in the budget calendar, we're talking about the tentative budget, what we will present for approval, and what will be our funding resources. But before I talk about that, I'd like to remind you all and definitely tell you all who we are at Tweeds County Public Schools. We are one team, one goal that generate excellence. And our mission is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. So what are the funding priorities in fiscal year 2022? We've came from COVID having an impact in 2021, and we did everything we could to ensure that everything remained operational and we met the instructional needs through our funding resources. So what will we do to fund excellence? Going back to our actual statement we made earlier. So we're talking about three pillars. One, we're going to continue to fill the staffing needs based upon state allocations, the instructional needs, and operational needs. CARES 2, which is the federal funding relief fund that came as a second wave to provide assistance to school districts in order for us to continue to provide those needs for our kids. And we're also going to talk about how we're going to maximize federal funding from our title allocation to offset salaries that are normally on general funds. So the right number of staff and the right work generates excellence. So the staffing allocation for teachers, the state determines that we're allocated 42.37 teachers. Now you may say 0.37, that's not even a whole person. And even in my position, I still struggle with that formula, but it works, and we'll break down exactly what that means in a second. For school administration, 4.13, and this is what we're allotted. But what we're looking to budget is 43 teachers and 5 administrative positions as it relates to the elementary school and the middle high school. At the district level, there's 3 positions. Of course, we will fund a superintendent. That's required by state law, as you see sitting in front of us, our superintendent, Dr. Mac Bullitt. We'll fund 2 assistant superintendents and 1 CFO. We earn these positions according to the state. And that will also be in our budget going forward in FY 2022 proposed. So as we talk about allocations, we look at some of the things that are unused. And we have services that address social worker work and also psychology or for psychologists. And we have third-party interaction that serves those needs. But as far as funding a person, we normally don't do that. And we have those needs where covered, and we'll continue to improve that aspect. And so that provides us 0.56 of unused allocations. Now, these numbers will make up what I call a Twiggy bank. As you may know, it's a piggy bank, but this will be our Twiggy bank for us to allocate these resources to fund our needs. So we have 2.56 additional items or allocation in our Twiggy bank. One thing that we're looking at doing, and we had in the past prior to COVID, these positions, but due to the economic times, we had to maintain what we had, and we did not replace these positions when they left. So an executive director, which will, and again, this goes back to us maximizing federal dollars, will also have 20% of that salary coming off federal funds. A middle high school administration. Our administrative team at the middle high has done a phenomenal job with the administrative staff they have, but we do find that adding an additional person would better serve the students and the operational structure. So we will looking at using 0.87 to actually meet that allocation need. And as far as our district academic coach, we will fund 50% for general and 50% for federal funds. And this will serve as a dedicated person to help address learning loss. As we talked about being at home learning, it's not oftentimes the best situation for our students, and being in person is one of the better opportunities, and this person will help us bridge that gap. So what's going to keep us going? So we have to talk about operations, technology, and travel. Some of these things you see tonight, you see technology in front of you, you see the room being set up from operations, and us coordinating travel with the lovely van that we have outside to transport our district staff. These are some of the things you see in current example, and we'll continue to go forward and look for. So instructional technology, since we have this funding source from CARES, we'll continue to meet those needs through CARES. We also look at hardware and software needs to be allocated throughout the entire function in general funds, and that's about $45,000 that can be used for tech supplies, ongoing software needs, and repairs. In the past, we budgeted for a mechanic position. We will continue to have that line item, and also for a maintenance position. Again, coming into a pandemic, we did not know what to expect, so we had to maintain what we have. But now that we know we have a lot of support from the federal government, we know how to plan appropriately to ensure we continue to fund those needs. Now, I don't expect you all to see this, because I barely can see this, and I'm standing beside it. But what I do want to say about this allocation sheet is that these are the numbers that the state give us. So the 0.3s, the 0.19s, all of these different allotments comes from this allocation sheet. And as you see, if you follow along where the boot starts, at the very bottom, there's 42.37 that we're allotted for teachers. So this is where I get the numbers in order to fund our staffing needs. And this ensures that we're not being overstaffed. So this is our guide, and this is our formula. So as we look at the tentative budget overall, we look at a few line items. So just to break down the anticipated revenue. So we're looking at $4.6 million in local taxes coming in. As you know, Twiggs County is a wealth of land, and we're considered a high wealth district. So our tax base has really assisted us a lot, and we continue to thank the taxpayers for your contributions to invest into the educational system and other entities. Also looking at other local sources, this is donations, other small grants, anything that's not classified as a major revenue. We're anticipating $90,000 coming from that, $9,500. State QBE. One thing about state QBE, and I mentioned in the last presentation, that we have to account for austerity. This is the federal government reducing our funding allocation to help offset because of the crisis. So we had to accommodate for that, and we're still climbing out of that 17% reduction we received in state funding. So we still have a ways to go, but we have added about $81,000 to our state QBE So we're proud of that they're giving some of our money back as we continue to go forward. And we're going to use CARES. $735,744 out of our CARE allocation will be used to help balance this budget because it will allow us not to have our fund balance impacted. As we go down to the anticipated expenditures, instruction, student services, instruction will always be the largest expense category because that's why we're here, to educate our babies. So that would be the largest expense category following transportation and maintenance operation, the safety and transportation of our students. And all the other core categories or support functions such as business finance, we have to make payroll, we have to ensure that we have school administration, that we have people at the district office. So those other function encompasses those particular functions or positions. And the total tentative budget we're looking at for this year is $8,900,475. And that includes all revenue and all expenditures. As you see to the far right, we do have federal programs that have been anticipated to be budgeted, but we will have our program directors come forth with their final numbers from the state and federal government level, but we always try to anticipate what they will look like. Superintendent Dr. Bullard, board members, constituents, I have presented the tentative budget for FY 2022. Are there any questions or comments I can entertain at this time?
Board members, are there any further questions for Mr. Oster? This is an information item. After our second hearing, Dr. Bullard, at our May 26th board meeting, you will seek approval for this budget.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. All right. We will proceed in our business agenda. Business agenda item B, salary supplements schedule. Information item, Mr. James Austin.
So we have, every year, we have to approve and present how employees will be paid and what schedule they'll be paid from. In the past, what we have done is provided administrative supplements for key positions such as assistant superintendent, principals, CFO, directors, and et cetera. But in this particular season, we want to ensure that we're paying by position so that we're not misconstrued. Anything with a person is always about position. And this helps illustrate what each position will be paid based upon, one, an external report they received from Metro RESA, which have done all the research for us about what this position pays. So we're basing everything on historical data from the district and also data that's being researched by professionals to develop this schedule. And it's well in line to what the market demands. We talk about continuing to improve the employment that we have here. We have great administrators, as you have seen and heard, and we want to continue to retain them and attract other administrative support if needed. And this helps us do that. And before I go further, I will always like to go back to who we are. We're generating excellence, one team, one goal, and the mission of Twiss County Public Schools is to inspire, challenge, and to prepare all students to compete globally. Inside of these salaries are the days, supplements, and degrees, or degree or experience that a person will have at each level. So the work has been done for us in this regard. What I'm presenting is an overview, and for example, it goes from 0 years all the way up to 21 plus years, and this mimics our state certified salary schedule. So you'll be able to see at every point when a person comes in, where would they potentially fall if they came into employment at Twist County Public Schools. And this is for all administrative roles as it relates to our district. Are there any questions, concerns, or comments about the proposed administrative schedule?
Mr. Austin, for our administrative salary schedules from the fiscal year 2020 to 2021 until currently, how many of these scales have been adjusted or increased?
We had about 2 or 3 of these positions adjusted, whether for budgetary purposes or just market demands, but we had 2 or 3 of these positions adjusted that's up here. And that was based upon their supplement that they had. So for example, if an assistant superintendent was paid a $10,000 supplement, that was an adjustment made to that last year.
Okay. Has that adjustment been made for this year?
Yes, and because we looked at the data and the data put us in market. So whatever adjustments that we would have made would have not done any justice to that position. So by using that data, that adjustment was in favor of those positions.
So the numbers that we see displayed are those schedules that include or do not include a salary supplement?
They do include.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Will we look at these individually in reference to or in regards to supplements, or they are embedded in all positions now?
They're embedded in all positions because the way the research led us, they came with days that we're paid on, for example, 226 days, the experience, the degree type, and also the supplement. And this is for districts in our region and also district that has under 3,000 students that's small like us. So this is in line to what they're doing. So instead of us breaking everything out, we took what they had as a whole, which includes everything. And we have that data to show so you can get an understanding of how they did their research as well.
So in saying that only, you said it was 3 or 4?
Yes, sir.
It was 3 or 4. So say there are 4 that have been adjusted to be in the market.
Sure.
As other districts. That means that some schedules have not increased by supplement. They may have remained where they were currently. If I could remind the board that we reviewed salary supplements last year, and we were in discussion for some previous months about reinstating those supplements. As we take a look at these in our executive session, in addition to we can talk about some planned time to further discuss those positions that may not have moved in the upward way, if you will. Based on how this was done, if only of them, 4 of them would change, we need to further discuss those people who we minimize salary supplements. And with good reason, we minimize those supplements based on our looking at our general fund balance, sure. Basically looking at what we had. COVID has come and changed some things, and some areas have increased in finances. However, some stayed the same. So we want to be fair, and we want to assure, as I know Dr. Bullard has done with you already in some conversations, as I know this takes a team effort. We want to assure that those supplements that we reduced in good faith are reinstated in some sense, or increased, if you will. So we want to, if you would, Mr. Austin, highlight those 4 positions that did increase, and we want to take a thorough look through all of our administrative salary schedules to make sure that I know that they may be competitive across other districts. We want to make sure that they're beneficial from our district to make sure that we are compensating our administrators as they need to be.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions, board? If there should be no questions, thank you, Mr. Austin. Business agenda item C, grant award. This is information item coming from Ms. Miriam Reardon. This is our Director of Teaching and Learning curriculum.
Good evening, Board Chairman Harris,
Good evening.
Board Chairman Harris, Vice Chair Mr. Rouse, esteemed board members, Superintendent Dr. Bullard, and stakeholders. Is that better? I am Miriam Reardon, and I'm here to discuss some more great news for our district. We are generating excellence everywhere we go in this district lately. One team, one goal. Our mission, again, is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. The Georgia Department of Education was awarded $18.5 million for virtual and personalized learning in 2020. This is part of the Rethink K-12 education models. You may have heard about it back then. Georgia is using its funding to improve the professional learning that's available to leaders and educators in personalized learning. Georgia had some grant goals that how they wanted to utilize this money. Georgia's teachers would be equipped with the skills needed to create vibrant, personalized learning experiences, and while school leaders at the same time will make the organizational and cultural shifts that would be needed so that students are not merely accessing school digitally, but are engaged in cultures of thinking and learning that can be sustained well beyond the grant period. The Georgia Department of Education used funding to restart schools in the fall of 2020. And they also had a promise to refresh our commitment to equity, service, and support. This initiative would improve student learning and the well-being of students across all subgroups with the promotion of personalized learning. And Dr. Bullard, when he presented his 90-day entry plan as he came into our district, part of that in his level 2, the challenge portion, was to personalize learning. In his bullet number 7, it referenced that he wanted to integrate innovative ways to utilize digital tools to personalize student learning. With that, as we planned and I presented to you at our last board meeting, our summer learning and enrichment program, the pretense behind that and some of the structures with that, I ended with, as we enter into next school year, that we wanted to personalize learning into the fall. And I also told you that we had some exciting news coming soon. On April the 16th, 2021, we applied for what is called the GREAT Grant, which was part of that initial $11 million that you saw at the beginning. This GREAT grant, Georgia is set to reimagine education and improve student achievement across all subgroups. So part of this, the GREAT grant, G-R-E, and yes, is the number 4 and T. As you know, in education, we have lots of acronyms. And this is probably one of the most difficult acronyms that I have had to figure out, because the G stands for Georgia, and the R stands for restart, but the E is part of the 4 and the E together. That is to embrace, engage, expand, and enhance learning, and the T is with technology. That's what this grant was all about. And last week, remember that great week that we had with all these other celebrations? Well, last week was when the the GREAT Initiative finalists were announced. And we have received the GREAT grant for Twiggs County High School. And then we received the great grant for Twiggs County Middle School. And then they ended that phone call with telling us that we had received the great grant for Jeffersonville Elementary School. So all 3 schools have been awarded this grant. This is the second cohort of grant recipients in the state of Georgia. There was a cohort for the 2021 school year, and we're part of the 21-22 school year. Personalized learning is what this is focusing on, and it is the future of learning. Part of this is to improve student engagement across all subgroups. Research shows measurable academic growth occurs when personalized learning is implemented. We want to advance our student voice and choice in how they learn and how they are, by building educator ability to perform personalized learning practices in a safe environment for our children. The grant funds will also be used to pilot micro-credentialed courses. Micro-credentialed courses is another one of those education words, and it means that if I take a course in high school and there are a set of standards that you have to be proficient in order to receive credit for that course, if some of those standards may show up in another course, let's just say maybe it's anatomy. So if some of those standards show up in another course, that student does not have to go back through those standards a second time. The students would automatically receive credit for accomplishing those standards, so all they're going to have to finish for their course, let's just say it's an anatomy course, are the standards that were not covered and that they were credentialed with during the biology course. So it accelerates the learning path for our students. It allows us to be able to complete multiple courses in a shorter period of time by taking some of those same standards and putting them together as they move forward through their pathways in all levels. It also provides customized services and supports. Our relevant school data will be used to personalize these services, because there are no 2 schools alike in the state of Georgia, and we have no 2 schools that are alike in Twiggs County either. So each school will have its own plan. The school teams will engage in continuous improvement cycles to plan and carry out innovative practices. There will be interactive coaching and conferencing for teachers and leaders. Research-informed methods are co-created and modeled for our educators, and our educators will network and exchange insights across districts. And this is with those other districts that were in cohort 1. We would be sharing ideas with them and collaborating with them, and we will also collaborate with any of the other schools that have received the grant for this school year. We will also have access to Georgia Virtual School and be able to utilize its technology to better inform our stakeholders of students' demonstrated progress towards learning as well. There are well-established educational agencies within the state of Georgia, and they will all be serving Twiggs County schools through this grant. These agencies are committed to personalized learning and will be committed to Twiggs County. These teachers who are in the GREAT program, and it does not have to be every teacher, so it's not something that we are forcing all of our teachers to do. It is something that we're going to invite them to do. So those that are interested and are buying into this, then they're going to be the ones that we're going to go forward with, and it won't be long before they're all going to want to be a part of this. That's why each school is going to be different in the way they approach this. Those teachers are going to receive coaching experiences and resources from highly skilled facilitators with knowledge of personalized learning and the science of school improvement. And some of the different organizations are listed here that will be a part of what we are doing. The GREAT grant also uplifts teachers and leaders. We have to start with the top. If we don't get the leaders understanding this and being a part of this organizational infrastructure, then the teachers won't have anyone to follow. So we want to make sure that we start with the top. The teachers, leaders, parents, and community members, you will be part of this personalized learning design team. That your voice, just like Dr. Bullard already heard your parts of your voice today, that we want to continue to hear your voice, you telling us what you need and what you would like to see, and some of you already did that tonight, what you would want to see in your child's education. Each school will choose their own focus areas. They'll create their own action steps. They will implement their own practices and measure their own progress. The team members will co-design the look of personalized learning for their own school and will share in the decision making. Their presence in Twigs will increase student access to courses and provide professional learning for our educators. These goals all align with our school improvement plans. This grant also aims to support teachers and the schools and the districts by implementing personalized instructional strategies to increase talking too fast today. Implementing personalized instructional strategies to increase achievement. Integrating instructional technology tools as a resource to enhance personalized learning. We want to utilize ongoing professional support in the form of modeling and coaching to increase the effectiveness of our school staff. And we want to establish a framework for sustainability and building capacity for personalized learning. Some of the other provisions that this grant is going to provide for us are school leadership, district level and school level leadership go to GALE, our leadership conference in the state of Georgia each year. This grant pays for us to go. We had put in our application to go, and we could not get in face-to-face, so we could only go virtually. But now that we have this grant, they get us in face-to-face, and they pay for it. So that's bonus for you, Mr. Austin. We will have access to all of the courses with Georgia Virtual School. We will have access to those coaches and facilitators. We will have personalized learning endorsements for any of the teachers who are interested. They will pay for it, and they will provide that training for us. It will also promote statewide leadership and tools for personalized learning. Hopefully I can get that word right before all this starts. And it provides some technology access. It helps to move Twiggs County up on that scale of trying to bring connectivity into the county. It helps to move us up in that scale of who they're looking at to bring that to next. And it's going to provide other technology tools for us to utilize as well, especially since we're already working on our initiative of one-to-one technology. So this personalized learning will engage students and foster a love of learning. That's the whole purpose behind it, to increase student achievement. Are there any questions? I know that was a lot. It's a big grant.
Proceed.
For is the years, I know it's 18.5 million. Is it a year's limit that we have on this?
That was what the state of Georgia had. That's not, we don't have a dollar figure assigned to us.
Yeah.
We have a need that they are coming to fulfill,
Okay.
whatever it takes
Okay.
to get that need taken care of for us.
Okay.
Yes.
So basically, we have a blank check.
Yes.
So whatever we end up needing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever we end up needing for our elementary school, as we write our plan, as our middle school, as we write our plan in our high school, that $18.5 million is there to help provide what we need. So it is up to our team to envision what it is we want. And I heard parents here talk about engaging them in technology learning. You have to do that in order for personalized learning to happen effectively at home. Because when the computer goes home, the parents need to know how to access and utilize the instruction as well. So I didn't want to steal Ms. Reardon's thunder when the parent was asking about making sure parents are engaged in the technology training as well. But that's going to be woven right inside of this grant.
That's why I say it's personalized.
It
learning.
is personalized. And right here with Ms. Collins was talking about more dual enrollment
Yes.
opportunities for children. That can very well be in the plan for the high school for personalized learning. because there are courses that we don't offer because we don't have someone certified in the area. And there are courses that we can make available for our students through technology. And by having that written into our high school plan, our students now have the opportunity to engage in more dual enrollment opportunities, as she said that she wished for her children to have at no expense to the parent. And those courses then, like it was for me, you don't have to pay that course when the child goes to college. My son took 3 dual enrollment courses, and when he enrolled as a freshman, those are 3 courses less I had to pay for. So that's a benefit not just to the child, but now to the parents. So that can be a part written into the high school plan. So we're really excited about this. And I am going to encourage our leaders to dream. This is the opportunity to truly dream about what can we do with technology. And there are going to be some individuals who are going to share their districts that have already gone through this process. They're going to share some of the things and some of the tools and some of the strategies that they use when we go to Gale this summer, so that when we do write our plans, it's going to do some phenomenal things for our students. So we're excited.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I give kudos to Ms. Reardon, as I always do, I want to correct something that I said in reference to our information items that will be presented back to us at our next board meeting for action items. Dr. Bullock, that will be on May 25th, not the 26th, so I apologize for that. In celebrations, thank you, Mr. Austin, once again for the work you do in the finance department as these presentations get heavy, but they're necessary to give a full and transparent story of our finances for the district. As you know, that these are many of your tax dollars, and I am proud that we always share with the community that we have not had a millage rate increase for the last 7 years. And I hear many of our stakeholders talk about our millage rate is one of the highest in the state. So we want to keep it where it is right now, because plenty of you in this room own a lot of property. So if we keep being a good steward of our finances, we won't have to raise that millage rate. Ms. Reardon, thank you. I want to acknowledge that we have some students who are doing dual enrollment and doing a great job. One comes to mind, Ms. Tayana Woodley, who's at that 30-hour mark at maxed out. So she can't do much more before she actually enrolls into a college. So I'm excited that we do have that program going. However, now, Dr. Bullock, it is time for some elevations and some new implementations of those courses. So thank you so much for the job you do, Ms. Reardon, in that department, as we want our scholars to have the opportunity of a lifetime. We often say we can go anywhere from Tweaks. However, Tweaks has to do the work to give them the opportunities to be able to go anywhere from here. Thank you again for for your work in writing grants and all that you do in that department. Next on our business agenda item, our last business agenda item, is item D, district request. This is an action item. Dr. Mac Bullard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, board members, community. As always, we begin by stating who we are, and who we are is who we want to become. And that is to always generate excellence, one team, one goal. And how do we accomplish that? We accomplish that by inspiring, challenging, and preparing all of our learners to compete globally. Board members, I have for you today a list of district requests that we would like for you to approve. We're coming into the summer, and our athletic department has planned to participate in some summer basketball programming to prepare our young athletes for competition in the winter. Therefore, they plan a number of trips to compete against other teams during summer basketball programs. And we have these trips here for you to consider your approval. June 8th, the high school basketball team will travel to Washington County High School to compete in their basketball program there. June 10th, the middle school will travel to Morgan County, and the high school will travel to Rutland High School. On June 15th, the high school basketball team would like to return to Washington County to compete in a summer league program there. June 15th, they'll travel to Howard High School in Macon. On June 17th, they'll travel to William James Middle School in Statesboro, Georgia. And on June 24th, the middle school boys will travel back to William James Middle School in Statesboro, Georgia to compete in the summer basketball program. You also see that we have a facilities request on June the 18th. The Live Well Twigs organization, and the representative is Ms. Mindy Floyd. They have a multi-county, multi-organizational health fair that is going to be conducted in Twiggs County, and they'd like to utilize the JES gym in order to help address community health needs during that health fair. They're going to have nutritionists, doctors, dentists, etc., helping us to take care of our bodies if we identify health needs, but also to prevent health problems from occurring. So they requested the use of our JES gym. Board members, we're requesting your approval of these activities for the June calendar in our school district and for our boys basketball team to travel. I might add that also on June the 25th, there are likely going to be 4 additional trips that will come before your attention for action item. The dates and times of departure and return were not clarified, therefore we did not include them on this request. But once those dates and times for those basketball trips are clarified, we'll bring those before you for your approval at that time. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. This is an action item, board members. Superintendent Bullard, I'm sorry. Board members, do you have any questions?
I have a question to Dr. Bullock as far as the I'm all for the kids playing basketball and academics. I'm for all that. But my concern and my question is, at the last board meeting we were saying that we was having summer school because they need to improve on the milestones, the academics that we missed during the COVID. To me, that was counteract that to me, that many trips. But that's just my opinion of that.
Yes, sir. We certainly did not discount that, Mr. Rouse, and it actually was indicated on all of these field trip requests when it was made that pending on summer school requirements for the students that are participating, if they'll be allowed to participate in these trips. So academics will be first. These are students athletes first. So depending on what those students need to do in summer school, that will determine if they'll be able to participate on the team. The team may go, but my son may not for that particular day, just depending on what they have to do in summer school.
So in continuation of this conversation, Dr. Bullard, as we share students from the various sports simultaneously, and we know that our athletics department are few in number. My concern, if we look at the pending for recommendations for summer school, that it will throw us in a time crunch to say whether or not that the team can go or forfeit the game. And I think there are some financial penalties there. So if we keep the calendar and those students, if we miss 5 boys or 5 girls from basketball, we'll be forced to forfeit, as we've seen this in the past. So we just want to make sure that if we do approve this tonight, that first and foremost, we have summer school recommendations completed. Secondly, that the athletic coach, basketball coach, is made aware in real time, and that he or she can forfeit this game without penalty to the district if there are not enough players, as we don't want to wait till the day of to say whether we're playing a sport or not.
Sir.
Should there be any more questions or concerns from the board? All right. Our only action item for tonight, as we won't prolong the time. All right, Superintendent Bullard, what is your recommendation?
Mr. Chair, I recommend that the board approve the revised district request as written, with the school district ensuring summer school requirements are first priority, as well as there's clarity about the forfeiting or any penalties for previous games.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard.
You're welcome.
We've heard the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion?
So move.
It's been properly motioned that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for approval of district requests.
I second.
Motion has been properly seconded by Ms. King. Is there any discussion? No discussion. I'll know you by saying aye or raising your hand. Any opposes? One opposes. That motion carries 3-1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard.
Thank you.
All right. Before we move to executive session, are there any questions or concerns? Any further discussion? Dr. Bullard, do you have anything that I may have omitted tonight that needs to be addressed before we enter into executive session?
Mr. The facility request? Yes, yes. Mr. Chair, no, nothing that you've omitted.
Thank you. Any board members have I omitted anything on our presented agenda tonight, or anything that you'd like to add or may have missed in your board member comments? If there should be none, may I have a motion to enter into executive session?
Mr. Chair, I offer motion we enter into executive session.
Motion has been properly made by Vice Chairman, Mr. Rouse. May I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been properly seconded by Ms. Teresa Blackshear. Any discussion? There should be no discussion. I'll know you by saying yes or raising your hand. Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. At this time, we will enter into executive session for personnel matters. Good evening again, stakeholders. Thank you so much for your patience as the board has entertained many amazing presentations from our superintendent, Dr. Bullard, and we are just excited tonight to share with you that we are moving the needle and we are doing some amazing works in Tweeds County. And within the next 30 days, Dr. Bullard, I believe that they will see some presentations and some results of our implementation. So thank you so much. At this time, I will ask for a motion to exit executive session and enter back into public session.
So move.
Motion has been properly made by Ms. Blackshear. May I have a second?
Second.
Second is by District 3 Representative Ms. King. Are there any discussion or questions? If there should be none, all ayes. I'll know you by saying yes or raising your hand. Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. We enter back into public session. Dr. Bullard, do you have any presentations at this time?
Mr. Chair, we have successfully presented all of our presentation for tonight. We want to thank the board for the questions that they've asked to help us improve our district as we continue to move forward. Thank you again for approving the action item that we placed on the agenda tonight. Mr. Board, we have nothing else to present.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. Does any board members have any final remarks or any presentations or any comments they would like to make at this time before adjournment?
I would like to thank our county commissioner, Mr. Keith Washington, for coming out tonight.
Thank you. Also, we want to further acknowledge Pastor Denard and First Lady, Minister Minister Denard, for you opening up your home as you are one of the churches in our community who are open for service right now. So we appreciate you being diligent and safe during this COVID pandemic as we further engage in worship. But tonight, we thank you so much for allowing us to utilize this beautiful edifice for the opportunity to meet about the business of the community, and it starts with education. If there should be anything else, we are adjourned. Good night. I'm sorry. Listen. Y'all have anything? Mr. Mike's job. I apologize. We need a motion to adjourn. May I have that motion?
Mr. Chairman, I offer motion that this meeting stand adjourned.
Motion is properly made by Mr. Rouse.
Second?
Seconded by Ms. Blackshear. Any discussion? No discussion. It's time to go home. All ayes, raise your hand. Any opposes? No opposes. Finally, good night.